Hello, welcome to Thriving Thursday. I just wanted to talk about fear today. I know that sounds awesome, right? But I remember one time somebody asked me how I overcome fear, and I had never thought about it before, and I didn't consider myself to be somebody who naturally walks into things that I'm afraid of and keeps going. I really had never given it any consideration my whole life. And it just got me thinking about it. And since then, I have spent a lot of time noticing, because I like to know how things work. So I've spent a lot of time noticing how the fear cycle works and why some people seem to progress through it and others get stuck. And when I really delve down to the core of that, it went back to first two things. The first one is growing up. Growing up, we are afraid of stuff that we don't know. And my mom would get frustrated and just do it for me. And the same thing would happen with my dad with things that I didn't know how to do yet. He would get frustrated and just do it for me, which drove me crazy. But the fear thing, I liked. I liked that I could throw a little fit and she would just get irritated and do it for me. So I didn't have to bother. I didn't have to worry about it. I didn't have to do anything that I was afraid of. And as an adult, somehow, well, as an adult, first thing is I made sure that I did not repeat that pattern with my kids. And it is not easy. It is not easy to listen to the freaking out, crying, screaming, blaming accusations that your kids have because you refuse to do something that they want you to do. That is not fun. But I tried to explain why. This is why I'm doing it this way, and this is why you have to do it. And it's because I wish that my mom had done it differently so that I didn't have to learn it as an adult. And so the question remains, why? Why or how? I guess really the question is how. How do you overcome fear? That was the catalyst to this whole thing. So then the second thing I noticed is that it started with this moment. So I went it was October 2006. I went to I had bought a book, and at the back of the book was a code to go to a conference for free. And I went to Texas and I got somebody else to come with me. So we shared a room and we went to the T. Harv Eker Money Blueprint weekend conference. I think it was 3 days, something like that. And one day in the conference, he had everybody stand up and we had to pair up. And they gave us each an arrow. Look at how long this is. This is in 3 pieces. So it's very long anyways. And it has this metal tip on the end right here. So it was all one piece. And you had to put the metal tip right there. Kind of hurts to push on it. Right there. And we were supposed to put the metal tip right there. And the other part, the back side of the arrow, which was, really long, like 3 feet or something, 2.5 to 3 feet long. The other person, you put it on their chest. I think they had it on their chest. I'm sure we were face to face. And you had to intentionally take a step forward quickly. You had to because you had to have enough momentum and power behind you to break the arrow while it was on your throat. Now, logically, I don't want to drop my arrow again. Logically, I knew that I was not going to die. Why am I not going to die? Because there's hundreds of people in the room. They're giving us all arrows, and we're all supposed to break it with our neck. Legally, liability wise, we're not going to die. They wouldn't have us do this if they thought we were all going to die, or if they thought we were going to sue them. Still really, really, really painful and scary to make that decision. And I saw some people doing it. I was not on board. Let's just say that. I was petrified of everything the whole weekend anyways. We had to talk to people, which I didn't talk to people. And then to break a wooden arrow, this is something that should injure or kill us if it goes into our airway, right? I guess realistically it's not, because that's where you do your tracheotomy. But still, it's very scary. And other people were doing it. People were high-fiving. There was so much success and exuberance in the room. And I made the decision I was going to do it, no matter how afraid I was. And there were a few people that you could tell probably weren't going to do it, even though other people were having success. I didn't want to be one of the people that chose not to do it. And so it was a really big guy. If I remember correctly, this really giant guy was my partner with a very broad, solid chest. And I had to get enough speed and momentum to break the arrow. And you can see what happened. It broke, and I picked up all the pieces, and I still have them. I mean, they've been like this ever since October of 2006. This has been like this, and I keep it out where I can see it, not in the living room, but in a place where I can see it and it's well taken care of. And I realized that was really the premise of my ability to push through the fear and do it anyways. And it compares a lot to the Tony Robbins thing where they have you walking on hot coals. The fear, I'm going to die, or I'm going to get highly burned. There's all these things that could happen to you that you believe in your brain are going to happen to you if you go forward. There are actually a special kind of rock that you shouldn't get burned. There are some instances, but for the most part, you shouldn't ever get burned, but you believe that you're going to get burned, right? Just like this. Logically, I knew I wasn't going to die, but I should, right? If I'm going through with this, really, I should be hurt. I believe that I could be hurt. And so making that decision to step forward, to go into the pain and the fear and the unknown, gives you more power over the fear. It makes you bigger than the fear, and it makes the fear shrink. Okay. And the reverse, I should say, is true if you have the habit of walking up to fear, something that scares you, that produces fear inside of you, and you go, I can't do that. And you take a step back. What happens is you've now proven to yourself subconsciously that this fear is too big for you. That task is too scary and you can't do it. And so the fear grows and it gets bigger and you get smaller and less capable. And so that's where these phobias, obviously there's more to it than this, but a phobia or a huge fear of something is you're making that fear to be much bigger and more powerful than you. And so you're making yourself in your mind seem more to seem smaller and less powerful. So if you want to learn how to overcome fear, or just change your life a little bit, you don't have to walk on hot coals. You don't have to break arrows in your neck, which is dumb. I don't think anybody does that anymore. You don't have to do any of those things, but you can teach yourself how to walk up to that place of fear, make a choice and a decision to take a step forward. It could be a small step, it could be a large step, it could be a lot of momentum behind you to help you break the arrow. But just choose to step in and notice how that affects everything else in your life. All of a sudden, you're more powerful. You're more in control. You have more options. And you can do more. It makes you more capable of doing everything else. And once you've done it once, it's not as scary the next time. And you can overcome more and more and more and more and more things that you're afraid of. And you won't even notice it. Eventually you won't even notice it. And then you'll get to something that's highly, unbelievably scary. You're like, wait a minute, I should be afraid of this. But you're not, right? Because you have done it so many times that it's not fearful anymore. So I wish you all the best. Go live your perfect life and have a wonderful weekend.